My name is and I'm the CEO of Cleantech Estonia and Cleantech for Baltics. We are supporting the cleantech sector in all the ways we can. This mainly translates into reinforcing dialogue within the sector and also with outside partners and other actors, be it in Estonia, in the Baltics region, in Europe, or globally. One of the very important drivers for cleantech sector is definitely regulation and policy matters. This is also why we kicked off this webinar series called Cleantech45. So this is the first episode. As you see, we're recording for those who cannot join us today so that they could watch it later. So the first topic we want to address today is the Estonian climate law that's in the making. We have invited Laura Remmelgas from the Estonian Ministry of Climate to join us today to discuss this topic. The plan is to first lay some ground, know where the process of law writing is right now, what are the expectations for it, and then we can have an open discussion where I would ask all the participants to raise a hand to ask a question. And then we can discuss how the climate law really affects cleantech companies, the sector more globally, also investors, if we have any among us. And then we can we can maybe reach some conclusions, hopefully in the end, to understand what are the expectations, what the law can provide or support cleantech with. So without further ado, I would just introduce what we have been doing on the Cleantech Estonian in Estonia's side so far on the climate law. So last October, when the climate law process was starting in Estonia, we also came together with some cleantech companies and discussed what are our expectations for climate law. And we came out with an open letter that you can also find on our website, cleantechestonia.com. So I would say that what came out of our discussions is that the main expectation is that the climate law lays the grounds to of course, support cleantech sector and cleantech companies, but also to lay like a general basis for perceiving and considering the cleantech and the green transition as an economic opportunity beyond being an environmental and climate urgency to be acting on. And for that, we had several propositions, what we would expect the law to contain. But I think we can come to this during the discussions. So thank you for joining us, Laura. And I would kick off our discussion with the first question. It would be nice for us to hear why Estonia needs a climate law and how does it tie in with the cleantech sector for you?
Okay. Good afternoon. It's already past noon here in Estonia. I would also like to call you up for good ideas and proposals also today during our discussion. So I understand that we have some international company here. If you have experiences from your home countries with climate legislation and how it has impacted or affected positively cleantech, or contrarily, what to avoid, then please, you're welcome to step in and give your proposals today here as well. But going to the Estonian climate law, well, the main reasoning starting this process was that Estonia already has set the target to be nationally climate neutral by 2050. In addition, we have some sectoral obligations by 2030, but we are lacking the concrete roadmap how to reach to those targets. And in addition, we do not have a clear picture what are the capacities of each sector to contribute to those targets. So with the climate law, we are aiming to develop this roadmap, how to nationally reach climate neutrality, what should be our midterm targets by 2030, 2040, and what is the role of different sectors. Should they move at the same speed, have the same contribution, or should it be differentiated based on what? So those are the discussions we are having currently in this process. And what we have also set as one of the main aims with this process is not to develop only a law what is based on what cannot be done or limiting some of the activities, but find those some key principles which could positively push towards new economic activities or towards moving towards climate neutrality. What to positively affect and how? These are the main questions besides defining those greenhouse gas targets in the law.
Thank you. You mentioned the kind of a roadmap to climate neutrality. So we have major milestones in 2030, 2040, and 2050. The final one, so to call, or final so far at least. We know that the EU Commission recently came out with a proposition for the 2040 target to reach minus 90% of greenhouse gas emissions by 2040. Are we ready to take this into consideration already in the Estonian climate law as well? And how do you see on all of these three decade milestones, how do you see that the cleantech sector and the cleantech developers can contribute to those goals?
Parallel, we are also launching involvement process for developing our national positions for this 2040 framework. Part of this input comes from the climate law negotiations, because we are trying not only to define 2030 targets, but really to look into how to move forward until 2050. But what has come out from the discussions so far is the uncertainty in terms of the technology, in terms of possibilities, in terms of how fast are other countries in the region moving in different sectors. And this has brought some uncertainties when looking beyond 2030. And that's why it's actually a good timing for this Commission proposal to come landing in this process and giving quite good insight in terms of impact assessment, in terms of how the industry or what they should consider, so we can have more like framed discussion also when looking at the 2040. So we see that it needs even additional discussions to come out, not only with the national proposals, but also contribute to the process of climate law. But coming to the national climate law, it will be a framework law, so it will not cover the whole world. It will include greenhouse gas targets, but what we see as a key instrument, what could also affect how Cleantech companies will get some like insurance in terms of future processes, are the like guiding principles what we are planning to set with the climate law, but also guiding principles when it comes to climate finance. And climate finance includes both state budget, but also different CO2 revenues. What should be guiding principles using those financing? And when it comes to those discussions we have had so far, quite often have brought out limitations for what can be subsidized by state budget, for example. This is definitely something under consideration during this process, which we are trying to now reflect in those additional rounds of working groups going on. That when we set some principles, what should we take under consideration from the perspective of energy production or energy usage, from transport and so on. So, and also how to tackle with green procurements. Should we have a principle or target set in the law? Should we have a criteria or a target when it comes to using CO2 revenues? Should it have like target foreseen for private sector, for example? And in terms of general principles, there have been proposals to consider how to support innovation and investments in green technologies. What kind of principles should be set that this is considerations also when it comes later on to go through sectoral policies or sectoral development plans. What are the key instruments that should be cross-sectoral level written down in this climate law? But definitely when it comes to Cleantech companies, well, the aim when finding your pathway to climate neutrality, I believe none of the countries would like to take the path that we shut everything down. We should, on one hand, tackle with how to decrease emissions from existing facilities, industries. Of course, there might be some activities that are not feasible at some point, but on the other hand, we should already find solutions and activities that will replace those activities that are not feasible anymore, and not wait until they will not be feasible and then we have an issue. We should do it organically. So finding those sectors, those activities is crucial in this process, because we see that during those discussions we have had, of course, the law itself, it will not write down everything we have discussed, although we try to cover the key elements in this background document we put together with this law. But what we have seen, that it has really initiated very crucial discussions and thinking what is and how the way forward here. So the Estonia can be compatible in terms of our economic activities. And what we have actually witnessed, that also those companies that are currently acting in the field that might not be feasible after few years, they are already thinking green tech innovation, green solutions on site. And they're actually really interested finding the ways how to support those activities to take up quicker than maybe moving organically.
Those are really good messages to hear, because I mean, when we think about the development of clean tech sector and clean tech companies, there's two major needs or like baseline that is needed. We need a market, we need demand from the existing companies to go greener, to be buying the clean solutions. And then we need financing to actually develop those solutions. You went quite in depth already on the financing. I think it's really good that we're addressing it in the climate law, because we know that even just for the 6 key technologies that have been brought out by EU in the Net Zero Industry Act as the kind of the key clean tech technologies in order to reach net zero, we are facing a 50 billion plus financing gap by 2030 from here. Not to even talk about the wider circular economy and so on, clean tech solutions that we need as well. So it's really good to hear that the state is planning to write it in a law. And if I understand correctly, it's going to be then like general guidelines that the other sectoral laws and other ministries are going to have to take into consideration when they're making any financial decisions. And we should probably get like a framework for them to define for themselves what is a green or clean investment or financial measure. And maybe the question that arises for me here is how do we make sure that we're not going to be buying in only foreign clean tech solutions that might be the cheaper and easier options. You know, looking at the fact that China has managed to pull ahead on several clean tech topics compared to Europe. How can we address that to really create the clean tech sector in Europe and to strengthen its competitiveness compared to big economies in the world?
Well, it's definitely a key question, which we hope that our working groups help us to define more detailed. But of course, yeah, when it comes to industry discussions we have had, or energy discussions, it's always the question that how to get activities taken place here instead of moving elsewhere, or buying in what we might be able to produce ourselves. It's the same question when it comes to decreasing CO2 emissions from industries, that we should always calculate that we do not export our emissions, that we find the ways. And from the industry working group, there one key aspect that was put on the table was to find a way how that when we set the emission target for industry sector, for example, that we take into account that it allows new industries, but maybe to find a solution how to prefer or leave this extra buffer open for the ones who provide input for green transition. Well, it's probably quite difficult to find this very good solution, how to write it in the climate law or some specific laws. But I believe that this is the discussion we now during February and March need to face during those stakeholder involvements, if and how this could be tackled through permitting or some other measures, or is there any possibility to write such principles somehow in the law or somehow into climate financing? And maybe another aspect is those new natural resources that we maybe have not yet taken into use in Estonia, to really assess the impacts of using those in terms of environmental impacts, but also when possible using possibilities to create this capacity here based on our own natural resources.
That's really good, and you already mentioned as well the state procurement to enlarge the amount of green procurement that's done by the state, so that can really be like a first strong home market for our clean technologies. And given that the existing companies do have to start their path towards climate neutrality as well, it's strengthening our local market, which is really it's really necessary to even start preparing for expanding to global markets as a clean tech actor. Perhaps you already talked a bit about the next steps in the process. Could you give a short overview of what's going to happen next, what has already happened, and how we could engage even more and have our say in the climate law?
We launched the process in September. It seems like a long time ago, but actually the process has been really quick, really, let's say, dynamic, because we get smarter during the process, more knowledge in terms of different sectors, their expectations and needs, and we have tried to design the process around it. We have had first rounds of working group meetings, and currently the second round is taking place. Then we will have additional meetings with our climate council, who will validate the findings from the working groups. And then we have this lead council who is the final instant going through all the input and validating what should go in the main text of the law. But in addition, we are now opening those very public discussions through, we have this methodology called arvamusrännak, or opinion
journey
road or something, or journey all around Estonia. For that, we are now starting to give guidelines to potential leads of those discussions in different places of Estonia. So there's possibility for everyone to hop on board and trying to think along how the climate law could affect their living, their activities in different places. After we have had this round of working group meetings, some of the sectors will come together even in March, like third time, because they have found that they have more to discuss, more input to give. And then all this input will go back to this enterprise working group, because it's important for them to understand when we talk about clean energy, for example, does it come with competitive price? What will be done to guarantee that it's not only green, but it's also with competitive pricing, for example. The same with transport or other resources. So this enterprise and resources working group is like the final who will try to tie everything together coming from other working groups. And in April, we are also planning to have like wider circle for all the working groups to give like the conclusions, what like this to give this bigger picture, because quite often working groups are working only through their own sectoral picture, but they might lack this bigger picture. Everybody might feel that it's very difficult for them to decrease greenhouse gas emissions, but when put together with some of the sectors who have more difficulties, then those weighting points will come out more clear. So we plan to have this round as well to give this overall picture before we have this draft law going to the public consultation as written text. So there's still potential or possibility for reflecting and reacting what have been the conclusions and how it could be formulated into a law.
Yeah, so basically,
and then yes,
basically 3 ways
and
to give inputs that are left, right? So first, just to say that Cleantech Estonia is participating in all the working groups, so the sectoral ones plus the enterprises and resources working group, where I think most of the cleantech sector's interests lie, so to say. So please do reach out to us if you have any inputs that you would like to give us. Other than that, also, you should be following the Klimaministerium website, so the Climate Ministry website, where you have the places and times where the inclusive climate law journey is going to be taking place, and where you can go and give your inputs directly. And then sometime in spring, the law is going to be up for public consultation on the EIS website, and that you can also more easily find it, I think, on the Climate Ministry website. I'm sure it's going to be up there as well. And there you can send your, so to say, official inputs or feedback on the first draft that's going to be proposed. So yeah, 3 ways to intervene left on the climate law. Who's interested? Sorry, I cut you, Laura.
No problem. It was very good conclusion, or so yeah, that's correct. And in autumn, hopefully in September, it will go to the parliament for hearings.
That's very, I mean, very much looking forward to seeing the first draft already and seeing how it goes. Huge potential for the clean tech sector, I think, and it really lays the ground to show that the green transition and the clean tech sector are major economic opportunities beyond its environmental and climate impact. And we have to grasp these opportunities because the other countries are doing so. And there needs to be a very strong collaboration between the clean tech sector and public sector for sure. I would now like to open the floor if anyone has questions. Just raise a hand and let's go in the order of first come, first served. Maybe it takes a bit of time to think of a question, but I do have many more questions on the topic. So perhaps waiting for you to come up with more questions, maybe more specific to your company. Then I would ask, we went a bit into the public procurement side. It's a good example to take to understand what kind of level of detail are we going to in the law. What do you see what could the climate law define on the green public procurement itself, and what should be left to then other regulations more specific to procurement that could define it more in detail? How, just to grasp a bit, like, yeah, what goes into the climate law, given that it's a framework law, right? And what's going to be left then, and what process is going to lead those other more detailed inputs into other laws, roadmaps, so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, nothing has been decided yet, because we started this climate law development a bit another way around how it's usually done. So we didn't have any paragraphs written. We have collected all the input information like openly, and now we are trying to fit it into this framework law. Most probably, which will now put under discussion, will be the approach to set a target for green procurement for a certain year, and also maybe to set a criteria that procurements must take into account the greenhouse gas footprint, for example. But like details, how to set something out in terms of green procurement. We have this procurement law, which will most probably be like a better place for more detailed principles. And in parallel with the climate law, we are collecting those very main principles that are like more sectoral, or that are inevitable to give alongside with the climate law, then this will go, this collection of additional principles set in sectoral laws will go in the parliament together with the climate law. At least we currently are planning such process. But as the climate law process is quite quick, we are aware that we cannot solve everything at once. Otherwise, it will take years. So after the law has been adopted, then all the laws and strategic plans need to be aligned. But this is the process that will start after the law has been adopted. But the principles that are a must to sort out together with climate law, where there are some things that maybe initially we see that their place is in the climate law, but we will have, for example, which I forgot to mention, we will have this juridic working group coming together in March, and they will validate if there are still some principles that maybe should be covered in some specific laws. Then we have additional file to put those on side. But we also consider them as equally important as the ones going inside the framework law. And I already know that, for example, transport development plan is waiting for their target from the climate law to open the strategic plan and get it aligned with this target.
Thank you. Yeah, so we shouldn't be worried if not all the details go into the climate law, then we might have to make sure that the main principles and approaches are there, and then we can move on with the other regulations and processes to integrate it in more detail. But I see that there's two questions. First, Ian has a hand up. Can you ask your question, Ian?
Good morning. My name's Ian Glasscock. Nice to meet you virtually. And I'm from Cambridge in England. And I've been over to Estonia once. I think it was the November before last year, met Indrek and Kaiser and some of the team there around a climate kick, climate accelerator. Looked at a potential project linked to telethon or prototron. And I'm currently working, I've been involved in different tech industries over the years. I was involved in an early European air pollution project. Gosh, it seems like an eternity ago now. I remember going to an original meeting at like I think it was about 2011 or 12, and we eventually got funding for it about 2015, probably then delivered 2016. And I think it just kind of shows that the slow pace. It eventually spun out from a UK university like 2 years later. But in all that time, because of the UK's bureaucracy, because we're a bigger populated country than you, probably because we've got more men in power than Estonia, some of the kind of the swiftness that's needed for the environment and for the climate and for Earth. I think you kind of remind me a little bit like I have one of my best friends is in Denmark. They're very quick, reactive, and I think from an Estonia perspective, you've probably got an even bigger advantage now because of your size of population, and I think you've got some key people within. You pick the phone up to people or you go and discuss over a coffee, and I would actually kind of ask you to be really bold in this kind of first draft, which is an obvious thing to say. But I would say be really bold, because it's going to get tailored in, it's going to get reined in economically by business, by industry, by just stop oil, etc., etc. But I think actually having that kind of first draft as a template would be a great advert for the rest of Europe and beyond. And just giving you kind of one insight I'm involved in connecting big energy projects into the UK grid at the moment. So we're seeing obviously a lot of solar, although similarly to yourself, we don't have the sun as Africa or Asia. But obviously the tech's massively improved, and a lot of battery energy storage as well. But again, politically, where we've seen massive slowdown in investment and issues that have come from, without taking sides politically, our current Prime Minister changing the legislation, for example, something so simple as the electric vehicles that were at the previous, I can't even remember which Prime Minister was in charge before that, but was talking about 2030 for industry. And so we had quite a lot of Tata, all the big automobiles, Jaguar, Land Rover, really accelerating investment to look at the battery energy storage and the components, the cathodes, anodes, materials, etc. And then the current Prime Minister linked further oil projects up in the north of Scotland, and then extended the delay for vehicles being manufactured across the UK from 2030 to 2035. That one decision has had a significant impact on the amount of investment and the confidence in the green tech across the UK. So literally just one decision can make a massive difference. And I think my final point you'll be aware of, you mentioned China. China could be a whole different webinar discussion, but you'll be aware of Europe's battery passport, where they're looking at the raw materials and the components that are going into these items. And it kind of, again, I think it puts Estonia in a good position and Europe in a good position. And it kind of reminds me of going to Italy years ago and seeing all of the ingredients within a meal had to be sourced within 25 kilometers. And I think we're going to need more and more of that collaboration across Europe on the key raw materials, identifying components, and integrating that within climate solutions that also have economic value for industry.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And sorry to cut you, but I see that we are running to the end of our discussion time with still one question to go. But it's a very good point. Collaboration within EU, and I still see UK as part of EU on that, because our ambitions are very similar. So it's good if we can do that. And definitely then the national climate law and environmental legislation has to be supporting and taking to a more detailed level what is done on the EU level anyways. But perhaps just to take it a moment for the last question that I see is here, not to leave anyone's questions unanswered. So Lisa Ruth, who is working for Milton Consultants, is asking about the investments. What kind of specific steps will be taken to attract foreign investments, given that it is a major concern for the sector. From our side, we can see that the early stage investments that we can find regionally and in Europe, but the growth financing is a bit harder to find. For that, we need to get along with the pension funds, infrastructure funds, who have the money that is necessary in order to scale and really adapt those technologies at scale. Laura, can you tell us, is there anything in the inputs you've got so far that addresses that issue?
Well, yeah, this is definitely an issue we need to consider during this process, in terms of resources and the nature of these resources, also the energy, what is used by different companies or industry. What are the needs in terms of that? How we can reflect it in terms of those general principles, but also later going through the throughout the sectoral legislation and targets. Also, testing has been a question coming through different working groups. How to initiate piloting being more flexible. There are already some of the solutions in the pipeline through different already existing legislations to improve those aspects, but it's definitely still something we need to reflect in those processes. Is it enough in terms of what we really want to achieve in terms of providing those new opportunities when turning our economy towards climate neutrality.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you for taking the time to join us and give us a really good overview of what's going on with the climate law, and how we can give more insights of or the sector's feeling into the law as an input. I hope that for everyone who was listening, this web seminar was useful. We are definitely going to continue with Cleantech45 web seminar series. So the next one is coming up on March the 27th at 1 p.m. So mark your calendars already. We're definitely going to be sending out the information on our social media. So you can follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, Cleantech Estonia. And the next topic is going to be ESG reporting. How does it support the Cleantech development, and what kind of obligations does it bring to the sector as well? So both sides, we're going to have two speakers that we will announce very soon. So stay tuned, and if you have any suggestions for any further topics to be considered in the future for the Cleantech45 series, then let us know. It's really good insights for us to know what topics you want covered. So let's stay in touch and give your inputs to the climate law. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.